Good day and welcome to a new mobile game. So we're going to be trying out something new here. We're going to be trying out something called Blue Archive. It was recommended to me by a friend, so I thought let's try it out. Let's see how good it is. They said the combat looks really appealing. I have played a couple stages. It does look pretty fun overall, and it's a little bit different to the other games I play, so it might be something that I'll try out and just do a journey of a noob series on, just depending on what people's reactions are to the game. So yeah, pretty much the game itself, there's not too much to really say right now. Obviously I've only just started the game, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens overall. So the main mode that I'm playing right now, and just to take a look at the gameplay for you guys, is the mission stages. This is just your starter campaign like every other game. You come in here, you complete the missions, and basically you just kind of dominate from there, or you try and aim to get rewards. The interesting thing about this game is that for the big missions it has like a grid system, and we'll talk about that just now. When you set up your team, you set up 4 units. You set up 4 strikers, which are the units that are in missions, and then you set up 2 special units, which are your kind of out of mission support. So their stats will count, but everything else won't. When you look at the units, you can see that they have these little icons. Some of them are tanks, some of them are damage dealers, some of them are supports within stages, and there's a whole bunch of other information that we'll take a look at in more detail in future videos. But when you look at these units, you can see that they have preferred terrain types. Some of them like fighting in cities, some like fighting in buildings, and some have different types of damage. Now that damage is resisted by certain units and not resisted by others. So it's very important to be aware of your damage types, which is here, the synergy info. Like for example, light armor resists piercing but is weak to explosive, for example. So it's good to know all your different damage matchups. Obviously we've just started, so I don't think it's too important right now, but it is something to be aware of later. And terrain types will also improve their performance. Skills are also good, so your EX skills are something we'll talk about within the combat itself. But most of the time, every unit has one EX skill and then has one basic skill and passives, etc. So you can see there, the basic skill, they increase evasion of my ally units when their health falls below a certain threshold, 1 at a time, etc. Your leader doesn't seem to have any effect, it's just the person that's in the lead. So I like to put the tank generally as the leader, but I mean, it is what it is. And you can see your support stats. Like I said, the supports don't enter the game, but their stats do matter. When you start the mission, you get this little grid, which is kind of cute. And you can see where obviously enemies are and where the boss is. And you can see where you are in relation to them. When you start the stage, you can actually choose where to move. So you can either engage the enemy straight away, or you can move 1 block and then just go straight to the boss. Obviously, depending on the stage mission objectives, you might want to choose what to do first, but I mean, it's entirely up to you. I mean, it looks like it'll come more into play later on. Maybe the grids will get more expansive. We'll have to see as we explore the game. The in-game combat is pretty nice. It looks really cool. It's kind of cute little art style, but it actually has a pretty cool little system here. Units with the tiny little grey shields are cover units. They'll actually seek cover against the enemy, which will lower the damage against them, whereas units like our tank will sit there in the front. The little skill cards, or the little faces in the bottom right hand corner, are your EX skills, and those are on a kind of rotation system. So 3 will appear at once, and they're randomized, and you have to choose the right ones in those situations, like we just threw a grenade. It's a bit strange because it's like people with actual weapons, and it's quite like a military-based game, but I mean, the music's pretty good, the presentation's pretty good, and it's quite smooth. It's quite a nice gameplay loop so far. I've only done around, I'd say, 7 to 10 stages, but it's been quite fun, quite smooth, quite enjoyable, and quite a lot of fun to experiment and try different things out. Which is really cool. And yeah, we got an S rank there. Obviously these are the beginner stages, so I don't anticipate anyone struggling with these. I think the mechanics look good enough that they might become something quite interesting later on. which is why I want to give this game a try. With the terrain, with the different damage types, with the unit types, and with the skills, it could be quite an interesting game from that perspective. And with supports and skill management, it could be pretty fun. Interested to see what this game's end-game loop is and whether it's any good. As you can see, we've got a buff here, which is pretty cool, and we've also got a healing skill as well, which is very helpful. We're going to activate the shield on our tank so that they can front tank, and yeah, I mean, the game is just pretty interesting. We're going to summon a turret. The turret will act as a distraction and also dish out damage. When you upgrade your heroes, you can upgrade their skills and their levels to increase the stats. It's all pretty damn good overall. Here we're fighting a boss who we can see there. Now we're going to use our sniper's skill to make sure that we hit the boss so that we can get rid of them as quickly as possible. And you'll see big damage come from that sniper skill, immediately knocking off like 3 bars of health, which is pretty good. Obviously that won't do as much damage, I assume, if we're not the right typing. So it looks like there's quite a few interesting layers to the game and its combat. But yeah, overall looks pretty fun. I do think it's got nice presentation. Now, fair warning, it is a bit of a waifu bait game, so obviously it is highly involved on your attraction to anime girls, and you're mainly using a whole bunch of anime girls that wield weapons. So it is going to be one of those kind of games. If you're into it, then could be something here for you. For me, I play games like Epic 7, which is maybe the closest I've come to this, but this is kind of one step further down the lane, I would say. If you look at the recruitments, there's swimsuit recruitments, which kind of says everything you need to know. For me, it's too early to tell what the quality of the game is. But based off of the first couple stages of combat alone, the presentation, the way the units look, the way it feels like a pretty well-made game. And it feels like there could be something here for people to enjoy. And I'm interested to see where it goes. For me, I always like to try out new games, always like to try out new things. And I think it's just going to be something fun to try out and see. So we're looking at, obviously, the improvement system. You can see I'm getting the tutorial on it, which kind of shows you how early into the game I am. But there's main things here. So leveling up is obviously the main thing. It's always the same in all of these games. Leveling up is going to be your first most immediate power spike. It's the same in any gacha game. Leveling the units up is going to increase their stats overall. As you can see, it's quite big stats as well. Level 2 to level 4 is like an over 10% increase, which is quite a big step up in these kind of games. You can put equipment on, which does help out the units as well, and you can level up that equipment, which also kind of matters. Slots will obviously unlock later on as they get more levels, which is pretty transparent. You can also level up your skills as well. It'll show you what rank, what materials you need, what will happen when you change. And then there's something called Unlock Mystic, which I assume is the equivalent of Awakening, as in with every other game. It's the dupe system, it's the method by which they get you to keep pulling on units because you want to upgrade their limit, to get higher levels, to increase their strength overall. It'll be interesting to see how predatory this game is in its dupe system, what its pity systems are like, and if there are alternatives to sourcing like unit awakening and stuff like that. But we'll definitely take a good look and kind of see how things go, and definitely give it a try. I think it's a kind of game, I don't know, I haven't really tried a game like this on my channel, so I'd like to give it a try and see how it goes. I haven't really tried one of these games in general. Games like Arc Knights and that are kind of similar, or seem kind of similar, and I've always been interested in trying it out, so I'm going to try this one out on recommendation of my friend. And depending if people are interested in the video, then I will probably give it a try. At least a Journey of the Noob series. It's a little bit more niche, I would say, than other games, but I mean, it could be something. There could definitely be something here to try. But yeah, I think that's going to be it from me, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment if you played or have any advice, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.